is Lisa from Life in Layouts. Thanks for joining me for another process video. Today we're going to do a layout in regards to when I took my little one to the playground. So recently I was blessed with all of this paper from Heather over at a message board that I belong to. We are currently going through the 6x6 2 with Allison Davis over at Scrapbook Generations. It is an online class that they have available using only 6x6 paper pads. So Heather had tons of paper that she was trying to get rid of, and I was blessed with being able to be one of the folks that she was willing to give some of those to. So what the 6x6 2 class with Allison Davis over at Scrapbook Generation is all about is they use different sketches focused on different size pieces of paper. So this layout is focusing on 4x4 paper. As you can see, I'm cutting the paper up into 4x4. They also have, they start out with a full 6x6 sheet of paper. So they have, it's usually 3 to 4 sketches, both single layouts and double page layouts. Excuse me. That they do different sketches with. So it goes all the way from 6x6 paper down to 1x1 squares. And then they have different patterns where they use strips or other ways to cut out the paper. So I am using this Distress ink, old paper, to distress the edges of my paper. This layout that I am doing is, I recently did a layout with the older one, and I wanted to do one for the little one as well. So I got my T-square ruler out, and I'm going to lay these photos down. I did realize that I have been doing a lot of block style layouts. So I do have some layouts that I have already filmed where I'm not using that style to kind of mix it up a little bit. So those are coming. Keep an eye out for those. So I'm just laying down all of my photos and the paper, lining them up. These photos, like I said, were taken when we went to the playground. And it was when Kevin and I first started dating, so it's been about a little over 2 years now. And it's crazy how much they changed within that time frame. So I'm cutting these little rectangles out. And if this was a full 12x12 paper pad, these would probably be 3x4. But I love this size. It's a perfect size for little embellishments. So I'm inking up the edges and arranging those on the left and right of the photos. Then I wanted to show you some of the details of one of them that I use. So as I am finishing this up, I'm going to ink up the edges, and I think I'm going to back all of them. Just wanted to give you guys a little update on myself. I know I have been MIA for a little bit. I have actually been really sick. I don't know if you could tell that I'm a little nasally now and sneezed just a few minutes ago. I went out of town for work and caught just some nasty bug while I was out of town. And that's just the worst. Like, you don't ever want to be sick when you're away from home. So having to be in a hotel and work away from home and be sick, it's just the worst. So I was down in Miami, and it's been a while since I've been down there. I actually travel quite a bit for Work, but I tend to go North Florida, but not necessarily South Florida. And it is crazy down there. I got lost almost every day, even using my GPS, and I went to the same place every day. However, I could never find the place that I was going. It was crazy. So I'm glad to be back home and back in my regular routine. So I do have quite a few videos that I have filmed, but I just haven't had a chance to do any voiceovers because I have just sounded horrible in all of them. So today's the first day that I've actually been able to talk and have a voice. So I'm just using some foam foam to pop up some of these little rectangles. And then get all of my edges down. I always want to make sure that my layouts are down really well. Some of my older layouts fell apart, so I always make sure that I use quite a bit of adhesive. So now I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do next, and I decide that I want to put some thread in a swishing motion on the page. So I'm going to get out my pencil and make that mark, and then get out my sewing machine to sew along that line. So when I sew across this line, the pencil line, you don't even see it anymore because I sew directly on it, but it just makes it easier to sew it. This sewing machine I got from Amazon, and I would not recommend this sewing machine at all. It was very inexpensive, and I understand why it was inexpensive now. I have to fight with it almost every time I use it, so I don't sew enough to warrant getting another one. When I do want that extra texture on it, I just fight with it and deal with it. It could be something that I am doing wrong, might need to be cleaned or something like that. I just haven't really paid much attention to it or spent the time trying to figure out what is wrong with it, since I don't use it that often. So now I'm using my paper piercer to pull the threads through the back and then washi tape to secure it. Sometimes I like to leave my threads in the front in like a messy kind of layout, but then other times I like to pull it through and secure it with the washi tape. So after I get all of that cleaned up and secured down, I am trying to figure out what my title is going to be next. So I pull out these stickers, and these are from American Crafts that I got at Tuesday Morning. And I got these very recently, so I think I show it to you again so you can see the numbers. And then also these basic gray and Olivia, which is a green color. So I pull out some wax paper and spell out the word playground, because I wasn't exactly sure how I wanted my title to lay on the layout, but almost immediately when I look at it, I realize that I want my title to go right where the thread is that I sewed on. So I start with the word play on the left hand side of the page, and then put the word ground on the right. And then I start to use the Olivia stamps from Basic Gray, and almost instantly realize that they are way too small and they get lost in that circle pattern. So I pull out these stickers poolside. These are vinyl stickers, and I'm not a big fan of these. I like the way they look, but I think because they're vinyl, they like to come up quite a bit. So even with gluing them down, it still takes a lot to make sure that they are secure and actually down. So after I get the title down, next I'm going to work on some embellishments that I pull out. So I pull out some of these wood veneer that I'm going to show you right here, and some green gemstones. So I don't end up using all of them, but I always like to have extras so I don't have to go through my stash again. So this word adventure, I had pulled it out on another layout and was kind of bummed that I wasn't able to use it because it was on a curve angle, but it works perfectly for this layout. So I was glad that I was able to get that in. I really like that wood veneer. So just adding the wood veneer in the star and an arrow. And then I also add some gemstones to the left after I get these wood veneer down in that little white space under the word adventure. Then on the right, I try to or I add some gemstones there, as well as adding a few more of the wood veneers. There's a camera and a star. And I try to make this cool kid or super cool wood veneer work. It just doesn't work. I think almost immediately. I put it down and realized that it's not going to work. So then I pull out these little meeples and realize that I needed another one so I can have like a dad and a son meeple. So I add both of those down. And then I'm going to pull out my Heidi Swap stamp. I think that's next. And I am going to stamp it in the same distress ink as before. So I pulled out my phone. You can see that on the left. I use Google Photos to store all of my photos, and I love having the ability to pull up the date. So as you can see here, I stamped it several times on this banner piece. I tend to do that a lot because I am the worst stamper in the world. So here I'm showing you this mini mister. It's full of water, and then that little piece of paper there is actually a flushable wipe that you would use in the bathroom, but it's perfect for adding a little water, and then I just stamp it and it cleans up my roller date stamp perfectly. I'm using Heidi Swap Mint Green to put my splatters down, using the wax paper so I don't get it on my mat or on my photos. I am sorry, guys. I feel like I am so nasally, and I keep having to move the phone away so that I can sniffle and sneeze and cough. So I am really sorry about that. So I'm just using some tissue to sop up some of the extra. And then I added my journaling, and that is it, guys. So here is the double page layout all together, and then some close-ups. I would love to hear comments from you guys. I always love hearing what you have to say. If you have some ideas on future layouts, I would love to hear those as well. So please hit that like button, and if you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button. Thanks everybody for watching, and I hope you have a scrappy day.